Welcome to Trainz Let's Build. Yeah, Trainz Let's Build. I don't know what I'm gonna name this series. I think it's just gonna be building the Alhambra subdivision or something like that. Anyway, hello. Sorry if you can hear my chair. My name's Josh. Some of you may know that, some of you may not. And I've elected myself to build a Trainz route. It's kind of always been something I wanted to do. It's ever since I started playing Trainz on like the iPad when I was like a little kid, and then I got Trainz 12, and it kind of went from there. And I've never really gotten around to making a really good route or anything like that. So here we go. This build, the first I have autosave or not autosaves, but I save my progress. And the first date that I have on there is the 8th, so it's been about 9 days that it's been being worked on. I haven't really done that much, but yeah, the plan is SoCal. Not, but yeah, pretty much SoCal, not like coastal SoCal when it comes to Union Pacific, but the Sunset route and its connectors pretty much. LA Subdivision, Alhambra Subdivision, and Yuma Subdivisions are all included. And you have, smaller stuff in there. But there's kind of like going to be phases to this route, I would say. You have, your phase one, which is going to be the Alhambra Subdivision. So this is, West Colton all the way. Or it might be the Colton Crossing is where the subdivisions change. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, it's gonna West Colton all the way to not LATC but East LA. It's gonna go through LATC, so I'll just get those both done. And then phase 2 is going to be the LA subdivision. Now the LA subdivision is going to be partially worked on for phase 1, because when you're going, through Pomona in Ontario and City of Industry, the two subdivisions parallel each other pretty much. And even when I was building some of the spurs here, there were tracks that were funneling over to the LA subdivision because they're just really close to each other. So, some of that'll get built here, but as of right now, it's not necessarily like I'm doing detailing. Sure enough, signaling, small stuff like that is getting done, but when it comes to like buildings and stuff, yeah, I place down a building or two or kind of design something. But it's honestly a little bit of motivation and kind of keeps me going when I see like a little scene that I made and it looks really nice. So that's pretty much the end of it. Sorry, by the way, you might encounter like me saying or stuff like that. This is kind of just shooting my shot at trying to record one of these videos, and never done voiceovers before, and kind of feels a little awkward for me, but that's whatever. And something you also might notice in the game is I bounce around a lot, and I get sidetracked and stuff like that. It's like it's a little like ADHD, funneled into Trainz. So that's pretty much the extent of that. As of right now, after I recorded this video and finished it maybe like 2 hours ago, yeah, I was recording for a while, but I've done a little bit of off camera work, so I've kind of like gone through and just fixed up the stuff that was gonna take too much time to record on here, which I don't exactly know if I go too fast on here or if I go too slow, but it's whatever. This is my first try, so you gotta reason with me. And as you can see here, I'm trying to pick out some fences. I didn't want to pick out some fence from like Trainz 2004 or something, but this clip is unmuted. Anyway, I need to mute this real quick. I cannot. Okay. Anyway, pretty much I was doing my best to get more modern assets because when you're going through and detailing the entirety of California, pretty much almost to the Arizona border, you don't want to mess up and have to replace stuff because that will take you forever. So that's my main mission here is trying to use the latest and greatest. I mean, I'm on Trainz 2022, albeit though I am funneling into my Trainz 2019 folder. I'm trying my best to get most recent assets and stuff like that. And you'll also see that I kind of bounce here to Surveyor 2.0. Uh, the my thought process here is I wanted to do my best to kind of just like use it because I know that stuff gets a lot more like freed up when you're using it, and you're not really so locked down to a certain grid path or stuff like that because you can kind of just freely move, and you can even move your signals around, which when I saw that I was pretty amazed, and seeing the size that I could go on my brush tools and stuff like that. Just although I don't really use it that much, just kind of incorporating stuff like that. It's really good in some aspects. And sorry, I don't really make a good segue here, but as you can see here, I'm doing culverts. I need to find a better way to do this. Now, it's not like it's that bad, but I mean, at this point, what this is just a rough draft, and everything here cannot be really expected. I mean, when it comes to trackage, yeah. But even trackage, I'm going to make it more realistic if it's off. I mean, I know there's a little abandoned branch here that's not even working, so I didn't even build it at the time because I was a little tired of that and wanted to get back to some inline stuff. But I mean, yeah, I might come through and build it just so you can like look at it, but I don't know. It's not exactly in my brain yet what I want to do with that. You see, I'm just trying to create detail. Oh, I am using PBR materials. I hope they get better. I haven't really noticed that too much is shining through, or like you'll see like the bugginess of PBR, but I don't know. It's always replaceable too at the same time, but yeah, I'm just figuring that out. So you're gonna see me open Spotify a lot. This is a key aspect to the Josh way of making these maps is trying to be comfortable, not kind of go crazy all over the place. You can see here, I am building just outside of Ontario, right before the huge flyover there. There's the lead to the kind of like, this isn't Kaiser. Well, it's just outside of Kaiser, but there's a little plant there and a little industrial spread. You can see I'm doing some research here on speed signs and stuff like that. That's what I'm doing here. And I think in a second, like I go over to the download station and just start like looking for assets, and I ended up finding some, as you'll be able to observe. I think they're just like speed, like advanced warning signs or something like that, but I don't know. They look just like the actual like change speed signs. So, but they didn't. I don't know if I tested them, but I think I did, and they didn't like drop my speed. But if so, I'll just put like an invisible speed changer next to them. It's whatever, as long as it looks good. I can just put invisible stuff next to it. You see, I'm just going through the download station here. You're gonna see a lot of just weird pauses and stuff. I didn't do too much editing on this, but yeah, that's the extent of it. So the way that this worked, this took a couple days to get the base maps into Trainz, because right before I did this, I literally like just said, okay, I'm gonna build this, and I just found out, okay, what do I need to do to get into get all the terrain and stuff in the Trainz because I knew there was a way to do it. So I went through bot base Transdem. That's what it's called, Transdem, and loaded in. It took me a couple days to kind of understand the program, which is sad because I know I'm not really going to be importing too much stuff. I mean, it's not really an unless, but yeah. Anyway, it was a hard process, and then I did it. So here it is. And originally, I was planning on loading all the way to the Arizona border. Now, as of right now, the Sunset route is all the way to Palm Springs, California, in Riverside County, which is kind of like the last outpost, as you can see, before it's just nothingness forever until you get to Yuma. And I will say that it just I wanted to build that far down, but it just was taking so long to export all this either way. So it ended up not being really beneficial, and it was just like, okay, whatever. But when it came to like making terrain and stuff, I made sure that you could see the mountains in the distance and stuff. I kept those loaded, but I had to cut so much terrain out. Which, I mean, you had the entire like Coachella Valley already in there, and then it was like, oh, import at the Paris area and stuff like that. I was like, no, there's not really a reason to do that. So, I just kind of snipped it enough, made sure you could see the San Gabriels in the background, stuff like that. You could see, familiar sights in the distance. And then, of course, I did my ortho layer of, what you're seeing underneath. I wish it was a lot more, like, kind of detailed. Like, it was a lot more in depth, so I could, like, a lot more easier. But when you, like, I could up it, but when I did up it, it took such a long time to, not export, but just, like, actually generate the images. And, like, it was just compacting such a small area that it was not even worth it. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just looking at sizing. Anyway, it was just so compact, and I was like, no, I need it to be a little bit lower quality so I can get a bigger area. Which, fair enough. I mean, I kind of eyeball stuff, and when it comes to realism and exactness, you can see there's portions where the ortho layer will kind of run out. And what I do is I just use the ruler in Trainz, and Google Earth has. Oh, I'm gonna cut off real quick. You can see I wanted to use the Reggie's Trainz assets, but thing is, I knew that anybody else who got the route would not be able to get these because they aren't on sale. They're not for sale anymore. This website got shut down. So I just tried to find something that looks similar to those, which now seeing I probably should have chose the non-gated option, but have happy mistakes. But yeah, I ended up just going with stock TRC, which easy enough. It's pretty easy to change the bells on them, which I'm gonna do. That's not that hard for me. So I mean, I could just do that and just release my version of the script to you, or the files to you guys. Not the files, but probably just release the bell.wav file. And you could just replace it and make it a little bit more realistic. But you can see here, as I was saying. But yeah, I had to go with a lot smaller ortho layer, or not smaller, but larger ortho layer, because even this like small branch line, like you can't really see that far down, like that it covers the entire branch line. What I had to do was grab ruler in Trainz, grab ruler in Google Earth, and just kind of reference. So it's pretty much roughly drawn to like the sizing in real life, which I found it to be actually decent. So that's no problem. See here, I'm messing with the switch. One thing about uh, using the base maps is that the terrain does not really, it doesn't really like help. Well, you're importing from like if you were on go on Google Earth and go into 3D view, that's how it's gonna appear in here. So it's not like exact. And also that what happens is your tracks aren't gonna be level, so you're gonna kind of level them yourself. You can see these spurs. I had to get like the flatten tool and just come through. You can see I found this like little like a little industrial yard here, and pretty much just did my best to replicate it using Google Earth. You'll see I switch over there in a second. Yep, there you go. So just referencing, this was very, very complicated when I realized that I had to build a little yard, and I kind of messed up when I built Kaiser. When I built Kaiser, I kind of messed up in the terms that the tracks, the ladder tracks, they're a little like they have some sharp turns. So I'm gonna go through and fix that eventually when I come back to actually detail all this stuff. But you know, I made a point to myself to like not do that here. I mean, although it's a little small yard, it doesn't really matter either way. It probably nobody ever is gonna use this. It's still good. Served by Kaiser local. I need to also find out all the locals and stuff like that. That's something that a lot of research kind of has gone into making this as accurate as possible. And a little bit more upsetting is I have built 0 mainline crossing. So, I mean, as time goes on, UP is obviously like modernized and changed up a lot of the stuff on this route in real life, and that includes removing most of the grade crossings and 70, trying to get 70 miles an hour for their intermodal trains, which I can understand. As you can see here, I don't know if that was actually how steep the yard is in real life, or the little, switch. I don't know what to call this, honestly. But it ended up just like I had to just raise the tracks because it was like a 2% grade or something when I looked sideways. But yeah, there's pretty much no mainline crossings till you get to Ontario, which I'm at the airport right now, but once you get to like downtown Pomona, sorry if I cut out there, then you'll definitely see those popping up, but they're quiet zones, so honestly I don't think there is any places on the US or the Alhambra or any ones that I can think of that where you blow your horn. You see, this is a case of me bouncing around. I realized, oh, I didn't detail that signal. Gotta go back and do that. But yeah. Just fixing up junctions. I realized that the switch is floating, so I, just repaired that real quick. But I mean, you gotta bear with me sometimes. Some of my techniques aren't that good. As you can see here, I'm like, I mess with this bridge a lot in this episode because there's some key components to it, and it's just kind of complicated. You can see here, and notice, I feel like when I come back to something, kind of like brings out all the bad stuff in it, so I can like kind of see, oh, I need to fix that. You can see here I'm extending the track out, because that point is literally where it gets abandoned. Flattening it out, kind of using the plateau tool. Kind of get a little bit of elevation everywhere, kind of even it out so the tracks aren't up 1% grade. You can see here, kind of this little spur was a little confusing for me, but ended up working out somehow. You see here, this is the only customer here. I know there's like box cars or something parked for when I looked from the earth view, but when I actually went there on street view, there was just not even tracks where it showed there was box cars, so I'm just assuming they got ripped up. Let's see, just expanding the ballast stuff. One thing I did notice about PBR is that with the transdem textures, that you can kind of import your data and see from above, like kind of a rough map. Uh, like it kind of overlays. So once you like put ballast, sorry for the voice cracks. Once you put ballast there and stuff like that, it will totally like unbury the tracks for some reason. But yeah, it's just PBR. PBR is a little crazy when it comes to trains, but it's a very new feature. All the PBR, I don't know how new that is. But yeah, you can see here this is an abandoned spur. I never ended up building this. I might later in the future, but it's literally just nothing, no cars, no locals go down there. You can see here, I do like these industrial buildings that you're seeing me place. They are very California kind of style. You can see this industry was kind of built on a curve for some reason. But yeah, they're very like California style, I would say, like industry buildings. So I use them a lot, and you can even see some in the distance, but they literally look like the warehouses in this area. So I just ended up kind of keeping it that. I mean, I always had time to come back and mess around with all of this and just kind of totally change the area. But that's what I kept it at there. You can see I'm trying to find where I was time in Google Maps and then Google Earth and stuff like that. Because I was kind of trying to find where that branch line is too. But then I found I don't know what this is. I think it's a cement plant. But I saw hoppers being delivered. Like, not even, I don't know if they were cement hoppers. They kind of look like plastic pellet cars. I have no idea what this was, so I'm obviously gonna have to do some more research. But I think it was like, I think it was like a rebar facility or something it said on Google Maps. I don't know. I don't really remember. Sorry for the little pause here. I didn't really edit that out. I haven't even really fully watched this video, but this is just. No, I had to go do some stuff real quick. As you can see, the time. I kind of find it funny watching the time just fly by in the bottom right. So, yeah, this is the part I'm probably gonna cut out. I don't know. I might get too lazy. It's 1 in the morning right now as I'm recording this. Yeah, this really isn't good for a first introduction to what I'm doing here, but it's good enough. But yeah, pretty much, it's I don't know how long. I know it'll take years, which kind of upsets me, but I I know that like I'm trying my best to use good assets and use techniques. I see a big inspiration, I would say, for kind of this like video series is probably approach medium. You can see I'm using his ladder track method around there, and obviously I didn't necessarily exactly copy his format. It's like voiceover videos have existed for a while, but the voiceover part, I wanted to do it because I could talk to you guys, or kind of just explain what's happening so I don't look stupid and just upload a whole length of clips and I'm not actually doing anything, or that you can relate to or be like, oh wait, that's what you're doing, like stuff like that. And you can see here I'm building the facility. This facility ended up being a little bit pain in my main rear end when it came to grading the facility, because there's switches do not, they need to be flat in trains. So I mean, you can like kind of change the grade a little bit. I mean, they'll kind of clip through each other, but it's not too bad. I think I have a couple switches here and there, and you can't even notice it really, but still, it bothers me. You can see him sitting around with the tracks trying to get some to work. No, did not say Siri. Well, no, I did. Either way, uh, this facility, I can't really tell why it is. I'll have to do research on it because there is so many tracks here. But there was maybe 7 cars scattered throughout the whole facility. There's maybe like 5 here and 5 there. Not 5, but like 5 on this like array of 5 tracks to the right. And then there was like a random hopper car on the left, and then on the other side there was like 3 more. It was just totally like just it looked abandoned pretty much. But there's still cars there, obviously, so some type of industry is still being worked. But I'm gonna I need to see if this was like at one point some huge like facility that as days of trucking and stuff like that has come about, it's just totally changed up the area and stuff like that. I mean, I did research on Kaiser and how there used to be like these big unit coal trains and stuff like that, and then it was like, Kaiser's a small little yard now, and it doesn't even. It's just Kaiser Steel, which I think Kaiser Steel might have gone out of business and moved to China. That's what I've been told, at least. I'm not sure. Don't mark don't mark my words on that, but I was told that Kaiser Steel has moved their operation to China. So if so, then I guess I made like the little lead up to the industry, to the lead like up to Kaiser Steel, but I haven't like actually like built Kaiser Steel or the tracks inside it. When I looked on the Earth view, this like ortho image you could see below the map, I did see cars there. I don't know if they were like just like things parked on the tracks or the abandoned rails, but maybe not. I'm not sure. It still said Kaiser Steel on there, so I'm assuming it's Kaiser Steel. I don't know. I'll have to go down there. I'll have to go down to all these places, kind of just overview it. And some of you might be questioning, well, if you're building the LA sub, then that doesn't really make sense. Are you just gonna have like a connector that goes just straight to the West Colton? And in real life, there, literally the whole reason why I decided to do that part was because there's a local called I think it's like LOB40R, or like it might be 44R, I don't know, that goes from West Colton and follows the westmost main. I think it's the west main. I don't know, the main closest to, like, if you're wanting to be closest to West Colton, on the BNSF San Bernardino sub. So it has track at Trainz, and it just serves all those industries, and then goes up to Mariloma in that area. So I was like, okay, I'll load that, and then you could just take your train through there. I plan to do some like running trains on the route once I get the trackage done, and I know West Colton's gonna take me a couple days to complete, but I like how it's going so far. I mean, progress is progress, I would say, but I'm in a very I was gonna say I'm in a very industrial high area, but that's gonna be the entire route until I go out to the Yuma subdivision, which then it'll get more sparse, and I could just spend days building mainline tracks and signals and stuff like that. But that area I rail fan more when it comes to like real life rail fanning. So that might be fun. I don't know. I do like making these little scenes, but detailing and making these it is taking forever. So, yeah. I feel like one system that this route needs is car flipping, like like cars getting brought in, and then I know there's like hump systems, but they're kind of like randomized. But like actually like having like cars that come in, go to their industry, get loaded or unloaded, and then go back to West Colton and then get sent out on outbound trains. That would be so cool. But I don't really know. The reason why I switched over to 22 when I started building this route was because uh you know it it was latest version. I thought, okay, by the time I give this enough time to like age and stuff, and it's finished, it'll be like a whole new Trainz, which that's the definite. So it and like usually when you go onto the modding websites and stuff like that, you're seeing like the newest and then second newest versions of the game. So I was like, okay, so it's compatible with those two. So that's why I just wanted to update it as much as I could and get it on the latest engine just so it could do what it was told. Because I started building this actually in Trainz 2019, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna transfer it over before I do too much, and then it's like irreversible, and I have too much to replace. This switch was a little entertaining to fix, but oh, random cut. Yeah, we're working on the bridge in Ontario here. This is a huge flyover that's right by the airport. Now, originally, I wanted to find something to like kind of be at the base of the ladder, but then I realized the ladder could float, and it probably does float in real life. You can see I'm using JMR signals here. I There's two things I want JMR to do. Is one, like kind of fix. I don't know if JMR is still making content, but fix them up and add like more like headlights, or not headlights, like more bulbs, so you could have like four-headed signals and maybe even more signal customization just in general, and you could like just pick out what heads you want where and stuff like that, or like what rules you want. But also, they don't JMR signals don't show diverging aspects, but since they look the best, that's why I'm going with them. I do care about operational standards, but uh, you know, I want it to look good too. And funny enough, I actually built this entire area already, but I didn't like detail it as much as it is now, because like off camera I built that little spur that you saw to the bottom there, but that took a lot of messing with the bridge. But yeah, I ended up just using like the quick transition into drive session, and it didn't, because like usually when I'm in a session I know that, okay, like I'll just like leave and I don't save it, and then I realized, wait, I should save the session because I did all that work, but I had already just destroyed it. So I was like, okay, at this point, you know what? I'm just I'm just gonna restart. I was so mad too. I spent so long working on it. I was like, got up at like 10 and like worked all the way till 2 on it. And then I just lost all my work. I mean, it's alright now. I've done more and I did it better than I did before, but still, it's not too enjoyable. But yeah, we're nearing the end of the footage here. So, yeah, this has kind of been an introduction. I'm gonna like just review this and realize how bad I like did on the voiceover, just bad I did in general. But I'm gonna keep this in mind, and I'm gonna do better. Sorry you saw that. I'm gonna try to do better. Just do my best I can next episode, and just be a lot more vigilant about how I am when it comes to detailing and being effective at doing my work here. And I'm really excited because I know that I want to show like my work and stuff like that, and I want to like kind of advertise my craft, as I would say. And so far, you know, watching these trains go by on the little driving I have done on this route, just getting me so pumped and just ready. So I'm very, very like motivated to do stuff, and I also know JR is coming out with Jointed Rail is coming out with S44s for UP, and ST70 Aces, Thundercabs, of course, and all the heritage schemes. I'm like just so pumped for that. It's gonna make these trains look even better, and Uh, in that train you saw in the introduction, I know you can't see any like articulated wells. I just was too lazy, so I just loaded all the same car. That's just like a test train. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys to those who have watched and those who have actually listened to me mumble all this time. Your viewing is very appreciated, and I don't know if I get good feedback, I might keep doing these episodes. I have no idea. But, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.